It is hour number 2. Welcome back. This is Three Man Front on Jocks each and every week. Brought to you by Craneworks. Get an opportunity to catch up with the voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, Chris Stewart.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah, the big dog's got it.
Crimson Tide Network's Chris Stewart on Three Man Front is brought to you by Craneworks. Lift it, buy it, rent it. The big dog's got it. And now, Chris Stewart.
And Chris joins us on the Higginbotham Hotline. First off, Chris, I want to say publicly a major thank you for the assist yesterday on the Glenn Miller Band, as you tweeted me, or texted me, I should say, because Landrum had no idea who Glenn Miller
I said
was.
Ralph Miller. He was a teacher that I had.
Look, Ralph Miller got me started to Glenn Miller because I should have known what you were talking about initially. But when I heard Miller, I knew exactly which Ralph. So,
are you a huge Glenn Miller fan? Do you listen to Glenn Miller as you get pumped up for the Alabama
Glenn
broadcast?
Miller. No, there were years maybe in the past where that would work, but it's not quite the same fit anymore.
You're
But,
more a
my
Metallica
parents-
guy, right? On Saturdays before the game?
Yeah, when you look at me, you think Metallica. I know. I will tell you, my parents were 40 and 37 when I was born, and siblings 19 and 15 years older than me. So I grew up with quite a range of music, TV, and otherwise in my household and in my lifetime. So there's not a whole lot that you can put out there that I haven't heard at some point or another.
I know Coach Saban was into the Eagles. Kalen DeBoer, what's his go-to?
You know what? He'll tell you there's not a ton of music that, that's his. In fact, I think I asked him that a couple of weeks ago, and he is so locked in on family. I forgot exactly what he said. Anything off the chart for him, but man, he's so locked in on football and family stuff. It's hard to get him talking about much of anything else.
That's not a bad thing.
No.
It's not a bad thing at all. It's not a bad thing. And it's genuine with him. I mean, you can have a normal conversation with him, but it's not like he's a guy that's locked into a ton of stuff in pop culture. That's for sure.
Chris, at the very end of the broadcast on Saturday night, I heard you say it wasn't the prettiest game, but the results is all that matters. Just talk about the game and what you saw about Alabama now moving on to Oklahoma.
No, it was one of those where you found a way to get it done. You didn't know exactly what to probably expect from the Tigers with the interim coach and a week, a bye week, and how they're going to respond. I thought the defense was obviously great. The offense missed some opportunities. It's not like they weren't there, but they barely missed. And on a couple of plays that would have made that thing look a whole lot differently in terms of the outcome and the offense as a whole. Disappointing, obviously, when you got 2nd and 2.5 on your first drive just across midfield, and you run it 3 times and you can't get the yardage to keep the drive going. But, it's not like you just simply make the decision you're never going to run the ball again. You just got to go to work every week and practice and hope it gets better, and at the same time do the things that give you the best chance of moving the football, even if it's not the way you'd necessarily like to every single time.
Chris Stewart, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, presented by Craneworks, and joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. As we look ahead to this week's opponent, of course, Oklahoma coming in. We know about Brent Venables, that defense. The offense has been, at times with John Mateer as a quarterback, knowing he had the hand injury. What about this Oklahoma team, specifically on the defensive side, do you think poses the most problems potentially for Alabama's offense?
Man, it's just their ability to shut you down, different ways. I think, one of the stats that literally jumped off the notes page, it's pretty prominent, but 49% of their plays by the offensive plays by the opposition are netting less than a yard. per game. I mean, they're completely shutting teams down half the time. Now, again, there are opportunities to to get things done in that other 51%. And Bama's, part of what Alabama I think has um, hurt them in the last couple of ball games is just the fact they've missed some wide open chances because they've been there. And if you hit those, and they will, then it's just going to look a whole lot different. But for Oklahoma, with their speed, with their size, on that side, Brent Venables is great at scheming as well. And since he's kind of taken over the calling of what they do on the defensive side, it's looked more like a Brent Venables team and what helped him get the job. And they're good. They're just good on that side across the board. I'm not sure that there's one area that to me right now stands out, but I just think as a whole, they are a scary, scary group.
The good news is the Alabama defense, not too shabby themselves. Alabama ranks fourth nationally in turnover margin. That is something that they have really had the knack of doing, is being able to turn over the opposition. Just talk about the defensive side of things over the last couple weeks, and they're going up against someone at the beginning of the year before he got injured. A lot of people believe that John Mateer was going to be mentioned for the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, they are facing a really talented guy. And I think it's a lot like last week when you were facing the same type thing in Garrett Nussmeier, and you just hope you can shut Mateer down the way you did Nuss. And a little different situation, different circumstances, certainly a different type of quarterback, and the style that Mateer brings to the table is what has been more dangerous for Alabama the past couple of years, that more mobile quarterback. But I do think the fact that he hasn't been 100%, and also the level of confidence that Alabama's playing with right now on the defensive side of the ball puts him in a very good position. And it's different, guys. Look, we know that one of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the reasons Alabama looked bad and lost in the opener to Florida State was not having Tim Keenan in the middle, because that was where they got attacked, whether it was on the the running game with a quarterback, the running game period. There were opportunities there in the middle that, a London Simmons wasn't ready at that time to meet the challenge, and the defense as a whole hadn't come together. But man, I'm looking at the depth chart now. Obviously, LT Overton had a big game last week, but behind him you got Jordan Renaud and Keon Keeley, who are playing a ton of snaps and very effective. In the middle, London Simmons and Isaiah Faga, who is also playing a lot and contributing so that Tim doesn't have to be out there play after play after play. On the other side, behind James Smith, you've got Edric Hill. Kelby Collins has played a good bit also. The linebackers, Nakai Hill-Green, developing. Yanze Pierre becoming a player at the level I'm not sure we anticipated, just has helped make this team one of the more effective defensive squads, and obviously the back half, the secondary. I think the way that Dejon Lee has come about as of late, the California native who's just a freshman, he's really helped them on one side at corner, shoring things up with Xavier Brown at the other. And I think what they're doing with their numbers, their depth, and the young guys developing and becoming more impactful is helping make that one of the real shutdown units in college football right now.
Chris, game flow. Oklahoma's got a good defense. We know that. You've already gone over that. But game flow, do we expect a low-scoring game? How do you think this one trends on Saturday?
I think Alabama's going to be sharper than they have been and more successful in converting the plays that are there. There aren't going to be a ton, but I've got a feeling they're going to be able to hit some big plays and be successful in this one. Um, at the same time, I haven't seen anything that makes me believe the defense is going to be any less effective than they've been. Now, to think they're going to hold Oklahoma to 3 field goals like they did LSU um, is maybe dreaming a little bit. But at the same time, I think they're going to have a chance to be a more explosive team offensively. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game, but I think Alabama can get to the upper 20s in this one and walk out of there with success. It's not going to be easy. We know that Oklahoma's been really good against Alabama, and we've had our struggles against the Sooners. But I think Saturday's going to be electric. Great weather, great environment, and hopefully great win for the Tide as well.
That is Chris Stewart, joins us each and every Wednesday, brought to our good friends at Crane Works. David Upton and those guys, Chris, that just do an incredible job each and every year.
They do, and appreciate them letting me be a part of you guys' show. We talk about Crane Works, and I think I mentioned Rental Works last week, but Waste Works is a Crane Works company, too, that provides roll-off dumpster rentals in the Birmingham area. They got a range of sizes and fast service. They are your source for local dumpster rentals. Visit wasteworksusa.com to get a quote today.
And also got a big basketball game coming up tomorrow night.
Oh, man.
That'll be a lot of fun, too.
It is a huge win. Obviously, last Saturday, it was a fun day for Bama fans to get up, tailgate, watch basketball play at MSG and get the win they did over a top 5 St. John's team. Now Bama moves into the top 10, and they've got a Purdue squad that's number 1 in at least one poll and playing well. And I think it'll be another great game. It's sold out. Tickets only available, I think, on the secondary market. Maybe a few student tickets left, but it should be a great night and hopefully the start to what will be a great weekend when we play Thursday around 6.
Chris, always appreciate it. We look forward to catching up with you next Wednesday.
Same here, guys. You take care.
Thanks, Chris. Chris Stewart, the voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
Well, get into the Finnick. It's Wednesday, and you can get in this afternoon. 5:30, they got acoustic music cranking up, and you can enjoy football, whether it's college football, whether later on in the week it's NFL, and then we get cranked up on the weekend. Alabama, Oklahoma, the video boards, the large screen, wall-to-wall TVs that they have there at the Finnick. It's the ultimate sports bar experience, but also on Friday nights, you can enjoy live bands. They crank up at 10 o'clock, an award-winning menu with all kinds of handheld shareables, fork and knife like fresh Gulf seafood and aged hand-cut steaks. It's the Finnick, 1630 2nd Avenue South near Railroad Park. Make sure you tell them Landrum from Jocks sent you.
1-800-239-WJOX. The Courtesy GMC text line is open, 205-834-9450. Phone lines are open at 1-800-239-WJOX. Our next guest is not until 12:30, so we have some time if you would like to fire in a comment or two on the Auburn coaching search. Big game coming up this weekend for Alabama against Oklahoma. Any other rumors out there that you've been reading on message boards? I was reading just a couple of minutes ago on the Virginia Tech website. They keep saying that James Franklin is the number one candidate, and they also threw out this name, Bob Chesney. He's the head football coach at James Madison. He's done a really nice job.
He's playing with Signetti's players.
Oh, is he?
Nah.
I thought Signetti took like 35
He
players.
He actually took half the team with him.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I don't know anything about Bob Chesney. So.
Is he related to Kenny?
Maybe. I don't know. But he apparently is a name of interest for the Virginia Tech job.
No, they're not directly related.
Not directly?
No, that's what it
Like
says
distant
here.
cousins?
This is the AI overview. No, the college football coach Bob Chesney is not directly related to country singer Kenny Chesney. They're two different individuals with the same last name. Bob Chesney is the head coach at James Madison University, while Kenny Chesney is a country music star from East Tennessee. Thank you, AI. Oh, Bob Chesney's done a great job.
No, he really has. A lot of talk about James Madison being ranked in the top 25. Do you remember yesterday on the program, we played a clip from a St. Louis radio station about Eli Drinkwitz? If you did not hear it yesterday, this is what the number one sports talk station in St. Louis, Missouri, it's ESPN Radio 101 in St. Louis. They were having an open discussion about Eli Drinkwitz and what he has done for the Missouri football program and the fact that Eli Drinkwitz's name has been thrown out there for other jobs. And they just wanted to point out some hardcore facts about Eli Drinkwitz against above 500 teams in SEC play.
This is not opinion. This is SEC schools records from 2020, Eli Drinkwitz's first year, through 2025. Their record against teams with winning conference records. So that would mean finishing 5-3 or better. The best, Alabama, 14-4. They've won 78% of their games. That is through today, so including 2025 teams with a winning record in the SEC. Then Georgia, 11-7. Texas A&M, 6-8. Ole Miss, 4-10, 29% winning percentage. LSU, 5-16. South Carolina, 4-15. Tennessee, 4-16. Florida, 4-17. Auburn, 2-18. Kentucky, 1-16. Arkansas, 1-21. Vanderbilt, 1-18. Mississippi State, 1-22. The University of Missouri, 0-15. It's a fact. If you want to say, well, he started to turn things around in 2023, no problem. Let's look at 2023 through 2025. Alabama, 9-1. Georgia, 6-4. Texas, when they entered 2 years ago, 3-2. Ole Miss, 4-4. A&M, 2-5 for a 40% winning percentage. LSU, 3-8 for a 27% winning percentage. Florida for a 25% winning percentage. South Carolina, 2-9. Tennessee, 1-7. Oklahoma, 1-6. Auburn, 1-10. Kentucky, 1-10. Vanderbilt, 1-10. Arkansas, 1-11. Missouri, 0-8. Mississippi State, 0-12. There is the information.
Pretty damning about Eli Drinkwitz's record. I bring that up again because he did his coach's show last night. And he went off, not in an ugly way, but he went on a diatribe about fans and real fans about the University of Missouri because he apparently had caught wind of that clip that we just played for you. It's the largest, one of the largest media. I mean, that in Kansas City, two of the big boys, obviously market-wise. And when you have the number one sports talk show, just like our show being number one, we say something on this show, it resonates. And what they said on that show resonated. And so he wanted to address it last night. And I'm going to this is a direct quote from Drinkwitz, not about the fans, but about some expectations. He says, we got to get out of this, oh man, it's playoffs or bust. if the season only counts for 12 football teams and we got 127 D1 football teams, that math's not going to math very well. There's a whole heck of a lot to be proud of, end of quote.
He does have a lot to be proud of, but that's also a coach that knows he's not going to the college football playoff. And it's also a coach that proposed an idea about having a lot of teams, right?
That's correct.
So
instead of him being able to actually get into the college football playoff based under the system of awarding the 12 best teams, he wants to open it up and have what? It was some ridiculous number, right? That's what he brought up in Atlanta for the SEC media
it was
days.
a big number.
Yeah, it was a big number. So, oh man, it's playoffs or bust. We got to get out of this mentality. They are paying him to put Missouri in a position to make the college football playoff. They're not paying him the ridiculous sum of money so that he can go 4-4 in the SEC.
They're not paying you to beat Kansas
No.
in an early season home game.
No, they're not.
I know that's a big rivalry, but you're getting paid to be in the big show. You're in the SEC. They expect you to be competing there. They're paying you like you should be.
Yeah.
Almost $10 million a year at Missouri.
Yeah. And like these coaches always
And I like
say,
Drinkwitz.
they kind of throw up this whole idea of, well, you know, the real fans out there. You know, we're not talking about these fans that sit in their basement and they get on the message boards and sidewalk alumni. You know, we're talking about the real fans. You know, we've done a lot here. He also brought up the fact that Missouri, you ready for this? Pull out your old atlas and take a look at this. He pointed out to the fans last night on his coaching show that Missouri is the farthest north team in the Southeastern Conference. Mind blown. Had no idea that Missouri and Columbia was not on the banks of the bayou down in Louisiana. They just got their indoor practice. He brought this up. The reason he brought that up about being the farthest team north in the SEC is because they did not have an indoor practice facility until last year.
And it gets chilly up there?
Until last year.
Well, you didn't need one. You should be used to it.
And so now they're redoing the end zones. For what purpose? I mean, if you're not making the college football playoff and you're 0-18 against 500 or better football teams in the SEC, why are you expanding your stadium?
And look, I understand that his quarterback got hurt and that kind of derailed their season and things. They probably weren't making the playoff.
But that could be
anyways.
a million schools across the country.
Correct.
That's football. It happens.
Here's the reality, though. Again, I'm not saying I don't think this team's great, but you're telling me that right now in the college football playoff rankings last night, you have a team like Virginia that's technically still alive for a college football playoff berth, and Missouri's not. But yet we shouldn't hold Missouri to that same standard as a Virginia? Like, I mean, I know it's kind of a broken record at this point, but who in their right mind would have ever thought Indiana would be in a college football playoff, let alone 2 years in a row, and you can't replicate that at Missouri? You can win 10 games. Why can't you get into the playoff? Like,
No, Signetti.
those are bad excuses.
Signetti has crushed that argument doing it at Indiana.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's a lot of coaches that probably hate him because, like, God.
Not just doing what he did in such a short period of time, and now it's about to be 2 straight, but the fact that you're doing it at historically one of the losingest programs in college football history.
Very
Technically
true.
the second worst program in the history of college football.
Yep.
And you're doing it there, and you're doing it in the Big Ten. You're not doing it in the ACC.
I can just tell you, based on some things that I've listened, things that I've read, the patience will be very thin because the state of Missouri has a motto, and it's on their license plate. It's the show me state. And you better show them, because if they don't care where you go. You can go to Gainesville, go to Baton Rouge, go wherever you want to.
Show me the door.
That's right. That's what will happen.
Well, and look, I understand it was different back then when you had divisions, and Missouri benefited from being in a weak division in the East when they joined. But at what point does that conversation come up of, all right, great, so we went to 2 SEC title games when we joined the conference. We haven't been there in over a decade. That's great. You can win 10 games. That's cool. Go win 9 games, go to a bowl game. That's great. But when are we going to get back to actually competing for championships?
Pull up their home schedule this year.
Well, it sounds like Eli wants to be at a place where he's appreciated for winning 9 games. I can think of several right now that the fan base would probably appreciate.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, this schedule this year was a complete joke.
So this is the home schedule. for Missouri. Central Arkansas, Kansas, Louisiana, South Carolina, UMass, Alabama. Worth mentioning, that is 6 straight home games to start the season for Missouri.
Correct.
6 straight home games. And then you also throw in Texas A&M and Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
That's your home schedule. So, yeah, okay, Alabama and Texas A&M, those are tough. You should have won every other game on that schedule, be 10-2 in the playoff.
Yep. And that's what they were expecting this year. So when he goes on his Tiger Talk show last night and talks about, got to get out of this mindset of the college football playoff. That, I guarantee you, that's not what some of these big boosters that are writing checks for your indoor practice facility or a fancy new end zone part of your stadium. You think they want to hear that?
Well, and right now, you second best odds to be Penn State's next head coach. You think the people in Happy Valley want to hear that? What
if your basketball coach says, you know what? We need to get out of this mindset of making the NCAA basketball tournament. Because there's 330-something Division I basketball programs. And just because we're not one of the 68, does that mean that we have to throw the baby out with the bathwater?
Again, this just kind of puts more context of going back to media days and his comment about, because he was the one that said, what if we had, 30 teams in the college football playoff?
More the merrier.
No, to your point, Pat, the guy that I'm paying $10 million a year to, I want to hear, no, we should be competing for a college football play. And I realize we might have some inherent disadvantages, but what the Missouri people have poured into this program, the support we have, if so-and-so can do it, we can sure do it here in Columbia. That's what I want to hear as a fan.
Because the bottom line is, if he's looking at other jobs, and we all know that they all do, but if he's looking for another job, what could you say that you did? Does the state of Missouri passed a law where they can give NIL to high school kids before they come to Mizzou?
Well, and you remember this offseason, they did a great job recruiting, great job in the port. Like, they were talking about how much money they had, how many resources they had to bring in all this talent. For what? ReliaQuest Bowl appearance?
Yeah. Kirby had to go to the legislative branch in the state of Georgia to try to get things passed because Mizzou started having all of these advantages over Georgia and other schools in the conference because what they were going to be allowed to do recruiting-wise for high school students to give them NIL before they came to Mizzou.
But they needed that because it's cold up there, Pat.
I can attest. It is cold up there. Not as cold as Lincoln, Nebraska, but it's cold. Many times standing at the bus stop with snow on my jeans. Yeah.
It's just funny because what did typically the Green Bay Packers, you think the Green Bay Packers go, man, snow game at Lambeau in the postseason? I don't want to play that. It's an advantage for you. You're Missouri. You're more used to the cold climate, especially this part of the season. You should want home games where the Floridas, the Alabamas, the LSUs are coming up there and having to deal with the weather because it should be an advantage for you, not a, well, we're the northernmost team in the conference, boo-hoo.
Use it to your advantage.
Yes. Embrace it.
Buffalo Bills do.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they need. They need more fans diving through tables. That's what they're missing.
We will continue on with this conversation. Love to hear from you. 1-800-239-WJOX, the Courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450. Welcome back in. This is Three Man Front on Wednesday. Next hour, we'll talk to Trey Wallace from Outkick, get his feelings on the college football playoff rankings that came out last night. We're going to remind everybody about Abide Roofing and this incredible deal that they have right now for those that are looking to participate in this contest in which you can get a brand new roof. That's right, completely free. This isn't a gimmick. It's not a sales pitch. It's their way of saying thank you to the community that has trusted Abide Roofing with their homes. Here's how it works. Fill out a quick form on the abideroof.com website. Look for the green bar at the top of the homepage. You can nominate yourself or someone who deserves it. Then watch for the winning announcement coming up next month. Value was up to a 30-square roof for roughly $13,000. Maybe it's someone who's fallen on hard times, can't afford the repairs, or a single parent working 2 jobs just to make ends meet. Maybe it's a veteran, first responder, or a teacher who's always giving back to others. Or maybe it's the neighbor who volunteers for every local event, a true pillar of the community. Whoever it is, Abide Roofing wants to hear their story. At Abide Roofing, they believe everyone deserves a safe, reliable roof over their head, and this is their way of giving back. Don't wait. Entries are now open. Enter through December 12th, 2025. Winner will be announced on December 19th, 2025. For complete details and to enter for the free roofing giveaway, simply go to abideroof.com. Did you see who was at the University of Georgia's football practice yesterday? Famous person. Kind of surprising. Former Florida head football coach Billy Napier. Pretty interesting.
He's got a lot of time on his hands now.
He does.
Kirby is really good about finding spots on staff.
Multiple sources confirmed to UGA Sports that former Florida coach Billy Napier was in town. It's unclear that Napier was doing there, although it's not unusual for former coaches to drop by a Georgia practice. It is worth noting that Napier's former team defeated Texas 29-21 back on October 5th. Georgia, just by chance, hosts the Longhorns coming up this weekend between the hedges. Kirby Smart's relationship with Billy Napier, that is no secret. The two served on the same staff at Alabama. Napier served as the offensive analyst back in 2011, and then he coached the Tide wide receivers from 2013 through 2016. So it was just fascinating to read that Kirby Smart had him at practice.
Well, and we talked about this yesterday with the Ty Simpson, Arch Manning thing of you'd be surprised how often people exchange information and discuss opponents and things of that nature. And here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Funny how that works.
I don't think Kirby really needs a lot of help to get prepared.
No, but
for
I think
Texas, but
he always listens.
Sure.
Extra set of eyes doesn't hurt.
Not at all.
He's seen the film, but he just wants to hear it. They just want to catch up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, I don't know. That was kind of making the rounds last night with all these other crazy coaching rumors.
How great would that be? You get the buyout, you get that first big check. You're just trying to find a way to fill up your day.
Yeah, you start touring.
Yeah.
Like you call somebody up and say, "Hey, can I come hang out?"
Hey, I want to. Yeah.
See, now how great would it be if you get the report today that Billy Napier, he's just making a trip and he's now in Austin, Texas today, hanging out with Sark.
I don't see that. I don't see Sunbelt Billy and Sark.
No, probably not. But it would be funny.
But I could see Sunbelt Billy and Kirby. Billy Napier was one of the most popular assistant coaches on staff during that time frame at Alabama. He did
a great job with the Amari Coopers of the world and players of that.
He was an outstanding recruiter, had a great reputation. They hated to see him go, but obviously had an opportunity, go to Louisiana, and then, of course, what happened after that.
I think we will see Billy Napier as a head coach at the Power 4 level again.
He's a good coach.
I don't think it'll be in the SEC, but I think we see him again.
Yep.
ACC more likely. I mean, think about this. Virginia Tech, if you strike out on James Franklin.
Could do a lot worse.
A lot of your texts coming in 205-834-9232. 9450. The phone lines are open as well. We're going to talk to Trey Wallace in the next hour, what he's hearing on some of these coaches searches. He always drops good nuggets. So we want to hear from you on the text line. We'll get to those texts, more college football news and notes as we progress. It's Three-Man Front, the Hump Day edition on Jocks.
.43 here on Jocks. If you got a dangerous tree leaning over your house or maybe branches blocking your view, call Golston Tree Service today, 205-337-4443. Golston's licensed pros. They'll handle everything from trimming and pruning to full tree removals, fast, safe, and affordable. Don't wait until the next storm causes damage. Call Golston Tree Service today. That number, 205-337-4443. And don't forget, 24-hour emergency tree service. So if the wind gets up, we get some bad storms overnight, they can come take care of you. 205-337-4443. That is Golston Tree Service.
Text line's open, 205-834-9450. Let's get to your text. Posey up first. He asked the question, does Brian Daboll end up back in the SEC or does he stay in the NFL? I say stay in the NFL.
There has been a popular belief that if Joe Brady were to potentially get one of these head coaching jobs, either in college or the NFL, that perhaps Brian Daboll would be a fit to go be the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. That seems to be the trending belief for Daboll.
I've never done it, but if I'm Daboll, I'm thinking back to my days of the recruiting and the demands that I probably had under Nick Saban versus being a head coach in the NFL and what that looks like. I try to find a gig somewhere else.
Yeah.
You're telling me I can go be the offensive coordinator for Josh Allen? Sign me up. Sounds good.
Gold doesn't bother me.
Nope. That'd be a nice fit. Wouldn't have to move that far.
No, that beautiful new stadium they're building.
Be a pretty good opportunity.
And someone throwing that Brian Daboll is now available for coaching jobs. Yeah.
I thought he did a great job at Alabama. I was a big fan of Daboll.
Someone asking, who do you see coaching back at the Power Four first, Napier or Freeze, or neither? If I had to pick, it would be Billy Napier. I don't know if we see Hugh Freeze again at the Power Four level. I don't know if we see him again as a coach.
I would go Napier as well.
Yeah. Robert says he agrees with Chris Stewart about the Oklahoma defense being challenging, but Oklahoma's secondary got lit up in the second half versus Texas and the entire Ole Miss and Tennessee game. If the offensive line protects Simpson, he could have a big day Saturday.
That is the interesting part of the matchup is the strength of Alabama's offense goes against the weakness of the Sooners defense. And heck, you really haven't been able to run the ball all year anyways, so maybe it won't make that big of a difference.
Sent for the Jocks app. Hey, guys, longtime listener of your show. Thank you. What do you think is the validity of the rumors of Nick Saban going back to LSU? I will start. I think it's ridiculous. And there's none to it.
I would echo those sentiments.
Pat, you've been really, really pushing this Saban. I'm just kidding. You think it's ridiculous as well?
I do.
Okay. I didn't want to speak for anybody else.
Oh, by the way, I went back and I looked. 2017, when Brian Daboll was the offensive coordinator for Alabama, Alabama finished fourth in the SEC in total offense. They averaged 444 yards per game.
I bet it was balanced, too.
This year, Alabama's averaging 403 yards per game.
Imagine how good it would have been if Tua had started that entire year.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. Yes, thank you, Andrew.
This was the pre-concussed Tua Tagovailoa.
This is when he was good.
I do Tua fingers every time now because you taught me that. And you're the biggest Tua fan, and so I figured it was okay.
That's just wrong.
He gets it. We're cool.
Just wrong.
We're cool.
How do you grip the football like that?
I think that's why he throws so many interceptions.
Right? How are you supposed to throw? I expect a spiral out of that grip.
He's going to have arthritis one day.
Wounded duck.
Love you, Tua.
Love you.
Please acknowledge me.
How
many cameos am I going to have to order?
That's right.
How's his clothing line doing?
I don't know. Landrum got rid of that shirt right after he bought it.
Yeah, you gave it to charity, didn't you?
Yeah, there's some dude walking around, or somebody's walking around wearing it, maybe.
Landrum loved it so much he gave it away.
I wore it one time. We went on a vacation to the Keys.
Oh, that's right. You bought it for a trip to
I told
Florida.
you, that's the only place I would feel comfortable trying to pull that off. And you know what? Nobody checked up when I wore it. Imagine that. Someone asking, did Tua ever beat a ranked team? Always left big games in an ambulance.
Ding, ding, ding. Worst text of the day. Pretty sure Georgia was ranked in the national championship game that he won, or the other playoff games that he won, or the SEC champ. Yeah.
I think the punchline there was more what they were going for. But yes,
About
you're
the,
right. Yeah.
I will
leaving in an
defend
ambulance.
Tua to the death. But I will also make fun
The
of
question is, why did Nick Saban still have him in the game at Mississippi State?
That was a bad decision by Nick Saban.
You think?
That was a bad one.
Who was the wide receiver that was still in the game under Mike Shula that tore his knee up against Florida?
That'd be Tyrone Prothro.
Yeah.
That one was bad.
BB. Hey, BB. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're healing. Says, I'm enjoying all the coaches carousel talk, especially since I'm severely medicated and the circus music makes me giggle. Conrad had the circus music going.
I bet that was a trip for BB. I'm glad she enjoyed that.
Yeah, BB had knee surgery a couple weeks ago.
K-Dub says, Napier to UAB? Haven't heard his name. Haven't seen his name. How many current SEC coaches will leave their job on good terms? We already know 4 won't. It's almost impossible these days. I think Kirby Smart leaves his job.
I was going to say
good
one.
Terms.
Kirby.
Clark Lee. Yeah, they're going to appreciate.
They'll be appreciative. Yeah, that's a good point.
He's a Vandy guy.
I would say that's it, right? Maybe we will see what it looks like. I would say maybe Mike Elko
I'll say
could
Lane
be
Kiffin.
on that trajectory.
I think Lane Kiffin gets another shot in the NFL one day. And the people in Oxford have a big parade there in the Grove, and they send him off.
I was about to say, you can live with that, not him going to another SEC school.
I can just see everybody, Pat, all the Ole Miss faithful. Conrad, can't you see this? Gathered around the Grove. And it's like an old episode of the Andy Griffith Show when somebody from Mayberry is going to the big city and going to do something, and everybody's there to send them off. I can see that. They're in the Grove.
I could see that, too.
Hey, speaking of Lane, so Rivals tweeted this out not too long ago. Apparently, Adam Gorney, who is a recruiting analyst for Rivals, as we all know, Knox Kiffin is going to be a heavy recruited quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Tell me he didn't just commit to Florida.
No, he didn't commit anywhere, but take a listen to this quote. I'm just going to read you the tweet. It says, 2028 quarterback Knox Kiffin comments on Lane Kiffin's decision to stay at Ole Miss or pursue another job. This is a direct quote from Lane Kiffin's son. I don't think he's worried about any of that until after the season, end of quote.
Well, that would echo what Lane said at his press conference earlier this week of, I'm fighting for this job right now. If I lose 3 or 4 games in a row, I might not have this job. So I'm worried about this, not the other ones.
And I've seen some people in Mississippi media go after this particular reporter from Rivals for asking a sophomore in high school a question about his father's future.
So, and maybe I missed this or maybe I forgot about this. Has Lane Kiffin in the last, I guess, month or two, whenever this started, has he come out and said anything along the lines of, no, I am not interested in other jobs, or I am staying at Ole Miss? Any of those declarative statements you sometimes get from coaches before they leave?
No, I mean, you've seen some social media, like in the end zone, talking to some fans or something, but.
And then says, y'all choose Durkin, Summerall. 3. Personally, I go John Summerall.
So Dillingham.
Durkin. He's really close.
They're all good. All good.
And these are all kind of dice rolls, but as opposed to what you had and the things that John Cohen stated that he's looking for in Auburn's next head coach. K-Dub reminds us, think Shula left Brody Crowell in against Western Carolina, took him out the rest of the season.
But there was also the Florida game.
Yeah.
That happened.
Yeah.
But no, I do remember what he was talking about.
Keep the text rolling in. We love them. 205-834-9450.
It is interesting. The most watched games from this previous weekend, I just saw the television ratings. LSU Alabama was the most watched at 7.5 million people. That is going to fit in as the 15th most watched football game this season. So having 10 million people on YouTube not being able to watch the games this weekend is starting to affect the television ratings. So this is the second week in a row that it has been mediocre at best. Indiana Penn State was $1.5 million behind Alabama LSU. As the second most, Oregon Iowa had 5.4 million, A&M and Mizzou 4.9, BYU Texas Tech, that 11 o'clock kickoff, 4 million. Navy Notre Dame did 3.2 million, Iowa State TCU 2.4, Georgia Mississippi State 2.3. Those are your most watched games from this previous weekend. So the headline, LSU Bama, 7.5 million, which is right behind the Florida LSU game this year. It's the 15th most watched college football game so far this season.
And I'm assuming with that this wouldn't have changed, but going into the LSU game, Alabama was the most viewed college football team in terms of average viewership for every game of any team in the country.
And that will continue to be number one. Alabama, the most watched.
I think Georgia was number 2.
I don't know why. It feels like Iowa State has played TCU 3 times this year. Is that just the Big 12 or is it just Iowa State?
I think it's just Iowa State.
Okay.
I think they like to muddy the water when they play somebody. Coming up next hour, Trey Wallace from Outkick. We'll get his feelings on the new college football playoff rankings. Your texts will continue along with your phone calls. This is Three Man Front on Jocks.